The game might be over, but we're just getting started. Welcome to the Todd Fox Post-Game Podcast, your go-to spot for real, unfiltered Angels talk, win or lose, on the Halos in the Infield Network. You never know what's going to happen. Walk-offs, meltdowns, heroics, or straight-up typical Angels disasters. We're breaking it all down. Who stepped up and took home the Golden Stamos, the most prestigious award in baseball? And who embarrassed themselves so badly they're stuck with the dreaded Nacho Night Award? Drop your comments, call in, and sound off. We're reading them all. So like, share, subscribe, and buckle up, because this show pulls no punches. And yes, Anthony Rendon is still a fragile little bitch. Take it away, Todd.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd.
Hey, welcome into another episode of the Halos in the Infield postgame show on the Heedy Network. We applaud each and every one of you, male or female, or whatever you describe yourself as, to come in here and have a good time with us. Win or lose, we always tell you it's by the fans, for the fans, for the fans, by the fans. We are all fans that actually go to games, unlike other podcasts that we know that we won't mention at this time. But this series, if you had to wrap it up in one sentence, I would have to say it would remind me of, how about a yummy tasting nut? Because that's what it feels like when we talk about this series. And the reference is to something else, by the way, nothing I said, but it just makes me feel like, okay, we accomplished something yesterday after taking one really hard to the chin. Like, it was almost like a boxer when he gets hit on that sweet spot on the chin where, you know, it's exposed for a half second and you hit your teeth and knock yourself out. That's what it just feels like on Friday. And then Saturday was a good redemption day. You felt like, okay, this is the Angels we've been watching these last few games, which at least during the start of the 2025 season, where you're getting a different vibe, you're getting a different feel, you're feeling much better about them moving forward. But then today, you know, if I have to be honest with you, after they took the 2-0 lead, I'm like, okay, they're doing it again by solo shots. And I don't really like that all. You know, I don't like them relying heavily on the home run. And then obviously once you start to get like a good, you know, a feel of things or feel of the pitcher, and you're not taking advantage of the pitches, you're not starting rallies, you're leaving runs on the board, you're leaving zeros up there. It's like, dude, you're not taking advantage. And they give up a 5 spot. And I really thought that Hendricks just had one bad inning, and it was the second inning. And I mean, he could have gave up 8 in that one if Altuve didn't miss that home run. I mean, they wound up cashing in the 3-run home away with Paredes, but dude, his pitches were up. And again, the problem with the strike zone, I'm not blaming this series on the umpires, but in this series with the umpires, they refused to give anything close on the outside corner, especially to the Angels pitching. Now, Houston got the benefit of a few calls in this series, also check swings and stuff like that, and including the foul ball that was ripped out of Trout's hands yesterday. But all in all, this had nothing to do with the umpires, which, you know, could have swayed this game either way. I mean, they always do, but my point being is I think the Angels could have helped themselves win this series, even with that bad inning, by just attacking more. I mean, in the end, it looks like they did, because they had 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors, whereas they out-hit Houston 7-6, but they also walked too many guys in this one. And for a team that has been doing much, much better in the first few games of the season as far as staying away from the strikeout in the first 15 games, they did not apply that much at all today. They seem to say, well, whatever you guys don't strike out over there on the opponent's side, we'll take those strikeouts and add it to our overall totals. Because we've given you in the past, and, you know, at least last year we were on it with the stats as far as which team, you know, or what the record of the Angels baseball club when they have 10 or more strikeouts, opposed to when they have less than 10 strikeouts. When they're in single digits at any point, they have a phenomenal record. And then when they have 10 or more, they're usually on the short end of the stick every single time. And they had a really bad record last year. So again, this year it's been, you know, they've done a good job keeping it under 10. They've even won a game or two with having 10 or more strikeouts. But this one is by far a season high, 16 strikeouts by Angel hitters today. And again, we'd like to see Ohapi out there every day. But if, you can't do it, then maybe find a spot for him to play, maybe find a spot in DH or something, be a little creative with the lineup. Again, people are telling me, hey, get off of Ward's jock because he's got 5 home runs now and he hit another leadoff home run. That's great. But again, what else does he do for the rest of the game? I mean, his average is exactly what he's going to give you. And I'm sorry, but having a 234 hitter leading off for me is not doing anything for me. I don't care if he finishes the year with 25 home runs. Put him somewhere else. He's still going to hit those home runs. He doesn't have a leadoff hitter's mentality. I'm going to keep on hammering that nail as much as I can until we make an adjustment, because a leadoff hitter is supposed to set the table. A leadoff hitter is supposed to say, okay, we got a mulligan the first time through. Let me restart this thing and get on base. Well, guess what he does? 3 strikeouts tonight. And again, a leadoff hitter is not supposed to be doing that. I understand that a leadoff hitter will have his opportunities and will make some mistakes and will have a tough night every now and then. That's fine. But to do it consistently, that's what he's been doing. He's an all-or-nothing hitter at this point, being Ward. He's not a guy who's going to rip a lot of singles. He's not a guy who's going to rip a lot of gappers. So you might as well leave him at a 6-7 spot. Like I've been screaming since day one. But the analytics and the StatCast and the nerds and the geeks with long hair and glasses will tell you exactly what we're saying is wrong, and they will pound out that Ward is the prototypical perfect Angels leadoff hitter, which is not the case whatsoever. Just ask his father. Believe me, we ran into him at the stadium. Louis Renifo should be a number 1 or number 2. And despite what he did today, he went 1 for 4. He hit the ball very hard each time up, and those were 2 of them to left field, to the midget over there being Altuve, everyone's favorite hated Astro. That guy, I can't stand him, but he made some catches over there in left field. It's tough to watch this team because you feel like they have to put the ball in play. They need to have more bats that are productive. And this was a problem like last year, where a lot of games where this pitching staff would pitch over its head and leave you with only 3-run deficit, maybe look at this game, 5-2, and they did a good job giving you plenty of time to come back. Although there was 2 added runs between the 6th and 7th, you still had 3 full frames, almost 4, to get back into the game. And then when you did, you gave 1 right back. So it was 5-3. But again, all solo blast. Just like the other day, you had solo blast. I mean, come on, man. We got to open this up. We got to get guys on. We got to start running, getting more walks in scoring position, moving guys over, doing first to third. Things like that need to happen more. We need to go the other way, hitting runs. This relying on the home run is not a good thing. And against a team like Houston, 3 runs is not going to do it. I'm surprised because of the great pitching of yesterday. 4 runs was enough to get it done. But again, you can't rely on that on back-to-back afternoons, because in all aspects in the 3-game series, they scored just 10 runs. They were outscored 22-10 in this series as they lose 2 of 3 to Houston. Again, Houston is a house of horrors for the Angels. It just continued today, and it was very frustrating because, again, I'm thinking and I'm hoping, I'm wishing that this team would turn the corner and start doing things a little bit more different, and especially in spots like this, because, again, this is a good barometer to see how we are facing teams in the future and how good we're going to be moving forward. And again, you failed the first test, which is Houston. You may have said we passed the test versus Ohio, but this is different. This is a division rival. This is a team that traditionally gives us problems, and we're going to have to really nut up against the freaking Texas Rangers. It's really going to be important to me to see how this team finishes out the road trip, as we currently are 3-3 on the road trip. I would like to finish at least 5-4, no worse. I don't want to be under 500 on this 9-game road trip. I think it would be a slap in the face, kick in the nuts type situation if the Angels don't finish with a winning record, despite who they're playing. So we'll see what happens, but definitely a frustrating game. The Angels led 1-0. Like I said, Taylor Ward's second game this road trip and series that he led off with a home run. I think third actually on the road trip. So it was 1-0. Hendricks, he felt pretty good. He's giving you back-to-back quality starts before this. And you're thinking, okay, just get us through 5 or 6. We should be fine. And, second inning starts off pretty good. They hit another home run by Shonawell, and you're like, okay, another solo blast. Angels are up 2-0. But this is why I hate the whole StatCast thing. This is why I hate the launch angle. This is why I hate the exit velocity. You can hit a ball 20 miles per hour off the bat as long as it finds green, as long as you hit it where there's nobody at. It doesn't matter. A hit's a hit's a hit's a hit. And I want to see more traffic on the bases. This solo home run crap is just not working for me. And again, being up 2-0, I never felt that this game was anywhere close to being over. Especially, this isn't the Houston Astros of old, but they only struck out 3 times, which means they put the ball in play. They worked 5 walks. Guess what the Angels did as far as walks? 0. They did not work walks. They were chasing sliders and sinkers outside the zone. You had 3 guys with a hat trick today. And once you have performances like that, and we talked about them winning games they're not supposed to win, maybe against opponents that are pretty good, but how they did it was about 7 to 8 guys, maybe even 9 of their guys in their lineup were at least attributed contributing at least a walk or a hit, and when you have at least guys putting the ball in play, getting on base, touching base per game, good things will happen. And in this game you had, let's see, you had 1, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 guys that did not do anything in the lineup. That basically gave you 0 for 4. So 4 guys went 0 for 4. So that's 16 at bats that were wasted. 16 at bats that you didn't get anything productive out of. That's terrible baseball. And that's not even counting all their strikeouts that other players got. So when you're not putting the ball in play, you expect a result like this. They made the Houston Astros once again look better than advertised. They are not this good. And so this is, to me, a setback. Wisniewski came in, 6 innings pitched, 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 earned, 10 strikeouts. He did allow 3 solo home runs, but in the end, who cares? Who cares? If you look at Hendricks, he had the 1 bad inning, 4 innings pitched, though. He 5 earned runs, 4 hits allowed, 3 walks. Those were all killer. I think the walks more than anything were killer. 79 pitches thrown, 48 for strikes, 2 innings pitched for Reed Detmers. He allowed a run. Then you had Darrell Hicks. He came in, allowed a 1 earned run, and then McDaniels pitched a clean 8th inning. So you out through the opponent. You struck out more. That's just, you're just asking to lose. They went 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Both times it was Taylor Ward. Go figure. The prototypical leadoff guy. He went 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Then he had 7 men left on base. It was just a disappointing loss, man. What can I say? No more disappointing than today's loss, that's for sure. Let's go through the lineup. You had Taylor Ward 1 for 5, leadoff home run, but 3 strikeouts. You had Renifo 1 for 4 and 1 strikeout. You had Mike Nelson Trout doing sexual things that enabled him from getting a hit today. He's only batting 196 with 3 strikeouts today. Then you had Soler with 2 hits, including a no-doubter for a home run. He's batting 241. That's encouraging. And then, Travis d'Arnaud is a former starter, and you're asking him to play once a week. That's not going to work out, and he's usually playing for Hendricks. He went 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. And again, for a guy who's looking lost out there, a guy who hasn't been hitting, why in the world do they keep putting a guy like Moncada behind Soler or a guy like d'Arnaud? He's not the second coming of Ohapi. Why is he in the 5th spot? It doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. Put Shonawell there. Put Paris there. Those guys are capable. Let d'Arnaud find a chance to hit lower in the lineup. Why is he in number 5? It makes no sense. So then you had Shonawell go 2 for 4, including a home run, but he still managed to strike out twice. Kyron Paris put up the worst game probably of his season so far, 0 for 3 and a strikeout. He's still batting .368. Adele went 0 for 4. Again, regress some more. 3 strikeouts right there, batting .190. He was trending up. He was trending up to where Soler's at right now with 240, and then all of a sudden he's had a couple bad games in a row. Newman did Newman things, although he got off the schneid with a hit. He's only batting 100. Again, when he's out there, he just flat out sucks. Tim Anderson came off the bench, got a hit. So did Logan O'Hoppe. But for what? I mean, those guys are getting hits, but nobody else is. And that was a tough loss right there. So there's no Stukas today, dude. There's no Stukas today. And the Angels did not lose from first pitch to last pitch. No, they got buttercupped, which is blowing the lead at, even though it was a small one, 2-0. And blowing the lead can only be attributed to one thing. If you do not go to the OC Dugout, brought to you apart by the OC Dugout, and blow your money on some of their merchandise, see what I did there? They also buy, trade, and sell, and they have a lot of good memorabilia. So go to our friends at the OC Dugout and tell them Heedy mentioned you, and they'll give you discounts or deals on merchandise. So, yes, we must play Buttercup.
Why do you build me up, Buttercup, baby, just to let me down, mess me around, and then worst of all, you never call, baby, when you say you will. So I love you still, I need you more than anyone, darling. You know that I have from the start. So build me up, Buttercup, don't break my heart.
And now we'll talk about the John Stamos Award for Best Player on the Field, because the best savings on and off the field and into your wallet come from only one place. 714 Tickets. 714 Tickets. 714 Tickets is the place to go to get tickets, no matter where you're going, what you're watching, who you're going to see. Go to 714 Tickets. The price you see is the price you get. And if you put in the promo code HITI, you get 10% off of set tickets. So if they're $59, you get 10% off of that. Plus, you get 5% back if you're registered on the app or on the website towards your next purchase. That, my friends, is really good. Who's the Nacho Night Award winner?
Nacho Night.
Well, I messed that one up right there, but the Golden Stamos, brought to you in part by 714 Tickets, is not going to go to Paredes, which was the game winner in all actuality. But I'm going to give it to Wisniewski, because Wisniewski was not supposed to pitch this good. He was not supposed to, hammer the Angels as he did with 10 strikeouts. He was dominant, and just seemed like the Angels could have had him on the ropes had they put together this thing called a rally killer and put more pressure on him. I felt that they could have got more hits. They could have did more things, but Wisniewski was on it. And once he settled in, forget it. He lasted 6 innings, quality start. He's their number 5 starter. So we didn't even face Farmer or that other pitcher that they got that's really good. And they still took 2 out of 3. That's discouraging, even for a team that's rebuilding with style like the Angels are. I mean, they're not going to say they're rebuilding. They're not going to say that this is a rebound year. It's revive in 25. No, this is just trying to be better, trying to do things better, trying to improve from a 99 game lost season. But still, you feel that this team has a better wave of talent than it did last year by far. And they should be making better connection, especially against inferior pitching, the bottom half of the rotation. Now, with that being said, now it's going to go to the Nacho Night that I jumped the gun on. And the Nacho Night Award is brought to you in part by Brewheim Brewery, which is where we're on the 19th in just 6 days, actually. We're going to be having a good time, hopefully with all of you down there, giving away things, playing games, eating, drinking, and just talking Angels baseball for a couple hours before the game starts. And we could walk over there and get our Star Trek Enterprise or Millennium Falcon, whatever the hell is perched on the A over there on that little bobblehead sort of figurine, whatever they're calling it. Either way, it's going to be a good time at Brewheim. They have all kinds of beers. Mention HITI, and they will give you a 10% discount on draft beers. So look out for that. Plus, we got your tab for the first $300. So look out for that. So let's get into the Nacho Night Award. Who gets that for today?
Nacho Night, oh yeah, Gosh, what a sight. All your dreams gone tonight. Had a bad night, lost the fight. No more crunch, just take a bite. It's the Nacho Night Award.
The Nacho Night Award has to go to one player, and I hate doing it because he's played two good. He's had two good starts in a row up until this one, and I have to give it to Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks was not going to pitch perfect for us all year, and that's a given. But he gave us two opportunities in two games that I think we won both of those games that he pitched, or maybe we lost one of them, no decision. But he got no decision in two of them. But he takes a loss in this one. The offense didn't help him out. I could give it to like four guys in this team. Again, Mike Trout, 3 strikeouts. Taylor Ward, 3 strikeouts. And Joe Adell, just between those three and Travis d'Arnaud, 11 of the 16 strikeouts between 4 players. That's unacceptable. That is not good baseball. That is not winning baseball. But I felt Hendricks, by not hitting his spots, not getting some of the calls, and just being flat on some of the pitches that he's been outstanding in the previous 2 starts, definitely gets the nachos. It was not his game today, and it was shown from start to finish as the Angels get the loss and lose, unfortunately, a series that we were hoping that they would win, because I'm tired of losing to the Astros, man. I mean, it is getting as bad as losing to the Dodgers. I cannot stand losing to the Astros. So that being said, on a Sunday afternoon, we got all kinds of comments to get into, and we will get into yours as we get started here. And we will start with right away, Boo Boo Bear's mommy saying we still deserve a spritz in this one. And the Spritz o'clock is also brought to you by Brewheim, where they have the best beers, and they also have seltzers. And for some reason, non-alcoholic beers. But Boo Boo Bear's mom is leading off with, it's Spritz o'clock.
Spritz o'clock, Angels play. Win or lose, we toast today. Sip and cheer, no matter score. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more.
Boo Boo Bear's mommy for hooking it up, because you're a sugar mama for sure on this page, especially after yesterday. I'm still reeling from that one. Saucy says, time for a spritz. F the Astros rally, Chris. Also, indeed, we do deserve one. Rough game today. Boo Boo Bear's mommy says, I couldn't do more than that today. Nope. Anything is always appreciated, and even then, we don't ask for it, but we do very much appreciate it. Saucy says, time to drink and complain. Dan Rios says, Also, she says, I can't stay. I'm working today. No more boo-boo. We don't deserve to see Todd's tatas. Also, and I took my shirt off yesterday. That was terrible. Rally Chris says, we can't win all the series. We about to lose a series after winning 4 in a row, but no surprise, it was against the Astros in Houston. Just regroup and get back to it on Tuesday. And that's the thing that I want to say, too, to echo what Rally Chris said. You know, to start off 4-1 in overall series for a team that lost 99 games, that's the good, taking the good out of it. The bad is, hey, man, we could have won a couple more of these games, and we could have like 11 wins right now and only 4 losses. But, hey, you know what? I'm not asking for the world. All I'm asking for is a winning April, and so far we're right there. We're 9-6. I'm really intrigued to see if we can take 2 out of 3 from Texas. I still think that's a win for this road trip, going 5-4. And then we come home against a very, very, very much improved and tough Giants team before playing an above-average Pirates team, a sneaky, if you take them lightly, Pirates team. They will bite you in the ass. So those are 2 good series to come up at the Big A. So I encourage all of you to come out and see it. Don't pay Artie, pay 714 tickets and stuff like that. So with that being said, again, I agree with Rally Chris. We need to regroup and move forward. This did suck. Saucy says, the naysayers are coming. Finally play a good team and lose a series. And again, we weren't saying if you win all your series. I mean, obviously, if you win all your series, you're going to make the playoffs. You're going to be like 40 games over 500. We're not looking for that. If a team wins 70, just 70, and I think it's actually lower, 67% of their series in a season, they have a 90% chance of making the postseason. So again, I'm not talking postseason or nothing like that, trying to blow honks up your honks, but all I'm saying is that, you just try to win series. That's all you do. I mean, if you can get on a 5-game win streak, obviously that's great. Obviously that's awesome, right? You just want to avoid more than 3-game losing streaks. You don't want to lose series. You want to win as much as you possibly can. And if you take one on the chin every now and then, like Rally Chris said, regroup and let's move on to the next series. Turn the page, as Mike Socha used to always say. Balls, and 30 home runs. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for this team that wasn't expected to hit many home runs so far. We sure have hit a lot of home runs.
For you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
30 home runs. Saucy says, be nice if they tried to do more than hit home runs. Absolutely. Tyler says, playing a lesser Astros team and we still lose. What the F? Also, seriously, what the hell? 14 Ks and 7 looking. Actually, 16. A lot of looking at fastballs. Grillmaster says, is Statue Stassi back on the team? He must be teaching some of these guys. Yeah, Matt, there was some bad at bats. Also, I sold the game today, Mike Trout said, or I buttercupped it. Also, Taylor Ward just proved why he's a horrible leadoff hitter. He is a terrible leadoff hitter. Mateo says, sorry, guys, I can't stay. I have family over. Have a good week. Hopefully, Mateo, you had a good night last night in San Jose. It's been a long season for the boys. Tyler's already saying they need some rest. Eddie Perez says season's over. No, sir.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Exactly. Also, always in the city of Houston, no matter what, new ballpark, new name, no Tucker, no Bregman, and you still proceed to lose 2 of 3. Delete the team. Jason says, hey, guess what? Don't worry about it. We're so back. Eddie Perez says, I hate it here. Mike Trout says there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tomorrow.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Grillmaster says Trout is a class act, but he swings like me in the dating scene. Yikes, takes a shot at himself. Balls, and screw the Astros because,
Time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
Screw the Stros. Dan Rio says maybe Rendon did show up at the stadium. He could have. I wouldn't doubt it. He probably sucked the life out of his team. Balls, and too much sex for Mike Trout.
Time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
No sex. We suck. Baseball's rigged when we go to Houston. Matt Badingo checking in over on X. He says, hey, Todd and family. Tough loss against the Astros, as I kind of figured we would lose this series. Have a good rest of your weekend. Hopefully you're doing good, my man, and hopefully we'll see you at the ballpark. Dan Rio says, me so horny and me love you long time. So he's getting into the X's and O's from StatCast.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight, which makes me so horny and me love you long time.
Chubb says, Halo honks spritzing everywhere because of solo shots. Dude, no kidding, man. Yeah, that's about how they are. Eddie Perez says sell the team, and you'll get it too if you listen to AM 830. If you could stomach it, he's going to come on there. Roger Lodge, the host of Blind Date, he's going to come on and say, "Hey, you know what? It's tough. We lost 2 of 3, but guess what? Here's some highlights of those home runs. Here's the home run from Friday. Here's a home run from Saturdays. Here's a home run from Sundays. Don't mind the score. Don't mind the record." If we can take 2 from the Rangers, we'll be all good. I agree. Jesus says the strikeout express showed up today. Also, Paredes homers for Houston were benefited by some home field confines. Jason says Ump needs to call the corners and bottom pitches for both sides. That is true. That's what really killed us in this series. Look at all those solo home runs. Q FanDuel. Yeah, FanDuel was having a great old time with it. They were like, yes! Yeah, they were just headbanging like me right now. They were so happy with those home runs. Also, Tony C says Todd is still encouraged. I was still encouraged by this game. However, 16 strikeouts is unacceptable. They need to clean that up. The Angels look flat today. Off to Texas. Let's see what happens. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it. And yes, they need to, dude, I'm telling you, I want to see some innings that last longer than 5 minutes. I want to see some innings where they can get some hits and get some walks and really work in the routine of starting rallies. Again, with the solo home runs, don't get it done. Iron Giant says captain solos today again. I see Mike Trout cannot hit a baseball when it matters. DFA Grillmaster says. James Malou says we lost our first series. Q, shit, here we go again.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Darnota's trash. Teamwork 20 says. Saucy says homers and strikeouts. This team needs to get on base. Still, this team couldn't do anything right last year, so this is better. They are very much getting a little bit better, but they need to really, really focus in on getting more clutch hits and things of that nature. Sapphire says, can Darno just catch and let Ohapi hit? I wish we could, but we got Trout DHing between Soler. Soler was playing right field today. At that point, I'm resting either Adele or I'm resting freaking Ward, and I'm keeping Soler in the lineup, and I'm keeping Trout in the lineup, but I'm also keeping Ohapi in the lineup. And if you got to play both catchers, you play both catchers, man. And if something happens to Darno and you need to use Ohapi, then you switch him. Darnota's dead weight at the plate, Nick Tate says. Also for a Ward, Dan Rio says, oh no, we suck again.
Oh no, we suck again.
Also, Grillmaster says, even Kevin Newman performed better than Ward today. You got to be some kind of terrible to be outperformed by Newman. And Newman, he got a hit and he kind of made a couple good defensive plays, but still, he's still dead weight as well at this point. The analytics didn't really apply if we struck out 7 or 8 times. Looking. Also, Darno equals Jack Taylor off the Major League, the movie. Oh, yes. Nacho Night Grillmaster says to Trout, change my mind. Tony C says Angels couldn't lay off the sweeper all day long. The Angels are going to need to step it up in Texas. Can we let Renifo or Trout lead off, please? I think most of the time Washington is a game short or a show, whatever. But I look at it this way. I would rather see like a Kyron Paris or like a Renifo leadoff. And then I don't like Trout in the 2 spot. Never been one of those guys. I got to see him in the 3 spot. I think he will continue to do better, but definitely need to perform better and leadoff. And Ron deserves a trough of nachos for his lineup manageability there. Grillmaster says, watch the Astros go back to sucking after this series. The Astros are nothing more than Angels and Crawford boxes. And if you look at some of the numbers from some of those Astros that are there now or that are gone on other teams and look at their overall numbers like Altuve's, I think he has 11th most hits against one major league team. And unfortunately, Altuve has some of the most hits against the Angels. But there are a lot of players on that team that they've just done so much damage against the Angels pitching. It's almost unfair. So let's go over here. Jason says, I'll be in right field in Tuesday's game. We'll be looking for you on TV right there. Him and his sons. Matt Badingo from X says, maybe that's what Artie wants to do. I don't like so many homers. They need to hit 2 or 3 run or grand slams to give it a little bit more breathing room. And that's the thing too. You got to get guys on base before you start taking shots. And I think even today, like Taylor Ward was still trying to hit home runs when they had a couple opportunities to get hits. So I don't like that approach either. So you got to shorten up your swing and put it where nobody's at. We swing at pitches nowhere close, Trout and Dumbo Ward. And then when you have a hittable pitch, you just sit there and take it like Statue Stassi. Useless Trucker says, knock, knock, who's there? Better get a hit. James says, Kyle Hendricks has one of the worst sinkers in the majors, leaves it up, and it gets hit up. Yeah, it wasn't messed around here today for sure. I mean, they got some pretty good rips on it, didn't they? Also, Angels lose on Sunday. Fuck! Also, who's honking now? There is no honks. It is quiet. It is clean. Nobody is honking their honk. Very quiet. Also, Joshua says we're blaming Rally Chris for the loss, right, Todd? Don't get him started, Joshua. I know what you're doing. You're ever so the instigator. Badingo says, am I becoming the new That's Grill Master? That would be a bad look on me. No, you're not. You're your own man. Trust me, you are. Grillmaster says, remember the Astros are good last year. No, weren't good. Oh, you already read that one right there. Jason says, I'll say it again. Like I said last night, I've seen enough from Houston that they are not good enough. If we can't get out of our own way, we can make this division a fight. And that's the thing too. I'm not really looking ahead of that, Jason, although that is a possibility, because if the Angels were to play like they have been, or just be not messing around, like you say, getting in their way, if they're pitching good, if they're pressuring, even if they're losing tight games, you don't have to win a lot of games to be in contention. Now, again, I predicted 81 wins. There's a lot of fans that have predicted 75 and lower this year. I just don't see it. I think they can get to 81 wins. But if you're in a situation to where you're only a few games out of the playoff spot, because I don't imagine this division winner, whoever it may be, whether it's Texas, Seattle, or Houston, I don't see them winning more than 89 games, to be honest. I don't even see them cracking 90. Last year it was done by Houston with only winning 89 games. I think it's going to be a repeat. And again, the Angels can stay close, but they have to stay competitive and they can't regress. It's all about this year taking baby steps forward, no regression. Let's just keep moving forward. You're going to have a bad game like you did on Friday. You're going to have one that slipped away like today. But the thing is, let's string together some wins like we were doing earlier and not worry about it too much. Nope, Joshua, not me. I'm not blaming Ron if we lose for jinxing us and putting us in the dark cloud and on the head, saying that Rendon probably will pop up in the clubhouse because he lives in Houston. And he might have been there, though. But Angels versus ourselves tonight. Also, yes, blame Chris. James is voting Chris. Jack Black, stupid question. Useless Trucker says, who has emotional damage today? I think a lot of us do.
Emotional damage.
Mario also says, I guess I picked a good day to go riding. I didn't have to witness us getting buttercupped. Yeah, if you're riding your bike, bro, I think you got some nice sunshine. The day is still early, by the way. So I encourage all of you, after this stream is over, I encourage all of you to get out and have some fun. Enjoy your family. Enjoy some time to yourself. It's a Sunday. It's nice. Grillmaster says, when Wisniewski got lucky, he was a beneficiary of facing the Angels. Against any other team, he would have stunk. That is debatable, but I would have to lean on the side of you are probably right. He's not taking the blame, Rally Chris says. Also, Mario says, Todd has his shirt on, Q Lombardi. Yeah, I think I scarred a lot of you last night, and I apologize.
What the hell's going on out here?
Also, Rick Guzman says, Adele Nacho week. So he's saying, you know what, dude? You can have nachos 5 days a week. And Grillmaster says, Steve Lee seeing Boo Boo send more stickers, Q Lombardi. She was actually laughing her ass off last night.
What the hell's going on out here?
Also, Useless Trucker says this show needs a jump with the Shark Award. Jump with Shark Award. Okay. Mario says Artie for Nacho's Decade Achievement Award. Also, Brian says, when does Neto come back? Brian, he should be back. They're saying when they get back to the homestand at some point. I would have to think maybe I would love for him to be back for the Giants series, but I think if I'm a betting man, I'm going to go with the Pirates series. I think he'll be back for that, unless he has a regression. I think he's working towards that Pirates series. And then speaking of betting, real quick, our last sponsor of the day.
Hey, Todd, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Underdog app sponsored by Halos in the Infield. Actually, you can punch in HITI and get the promo code 20% earnings on your first bet via Underdog, the app. And also, they match 50% up to $1,000 winnings if you place bets. You could put them on players. You could put it on teams. It's a nightly thing. It's so easy to play, but also gamble responsibly. All because of Halos in the Infield and Underdog, the app. Will Neto come back? Brian wants to know as a starter. Yes, he will. So we'll see about that. We'll see how good he plays as well. Nacho Night goes to Rally Chris for jinxing us, Joshua says. Matt Bedingo says at least the Rangers are losing, and if they lose the series to the Mariners, we're still in first by a half game. We'll see what happens. It's too early for me with that. Also, Grillmaster says Steve Lees blames this one on Rendon. Also, Sapphire says, are the Angels trying to compete with the Dodgers for most home runs? Because that's where the Angels are number one this season, which is very, very weird moving here into the season. Unfiltered says, hey, we're so back, baby. Ha ha. Also, we may have to face Levy Duns, the most famous gymnast from LSU boyfriend, Paul Skeens in the Pirates series. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, dude. Paul Skeens is going to be worth the price of admission for that Pirates series Monday through Wednesday. Unfiltered says, really thought we were going to win today. I did too. On X, I want them to win the series, and I also want them to stay healthy. Me too, Bedingo. I'm tired of the injuries. Even if they go 500, I want to see a healthy team. I'm tired of seeing guys only playing like 80 games, 90 games. There's too many injuries, man. Real quick, too, about that series with the Pirates, it's or even this series coming up right now, or even the series of past, the Houston series, I predicted them to lose the game with Anderson and win the two bookend games and win the series, and I was wrong. It flipped on me. The game I thought we would struggle with, Anderson pitched dominant, and we got just enough runs. Rally Chris says, nope, it belongs to Ron for leaving Hendricks out there to get blasted. He's not taking credit for the loss. Unfiltered says, remember when we beat Houston yesterday? I missed those days. Jason says Angels need to rest from the Houston and Arlington long layover. Yeah, it's so dumb, isn't that? Grillmaster says it was a long flight. That's why they lost the series. Angels broadcast. Unfiltered says there was too much sexy time last night on the channel. Also, I will be there on the 19th for Star Wars weekend. Hope to see you there, Bedingo. I'll be there as well. Balls in my mouth, Grillmaster says. Jesus says, the question we should be asking, what's the plus minus versus head-to-head against the division that can show how we are anywhere close to finish near 500. And again, that's going to make a huge difference. If we are anywhere close to being to 100 games or not to 100 games, but through those games in division, if we were showing a winning record, because again, the last 3 years, I can tell you with all confidence that we do not have a winning record against this division. We sometimes beat Oakland and have a winning record against them. We'll sometimes have a 500 or better record against Seattle, but it's usually Texas and Houston that we are always under 500. And that's just a given. And that has got to change if this team wants to change its luck, because when this team was doing really good under Mike Scioscia, under better leadership, under better ownership, and even under Artie, but under better leadership from guys that were left to do what they were supposed to do and being hired by Disney, this team would rule the AL West. Not so much lately. Why do I have a feeling that we at least lose the first game in Texas, Unfiltered? I don't know, man. I'm going to take it one game at a time. Andreas Renderia says, can we speak about how bad Joe Adele is? I will say this, Andres. I like when he's on, which is very rare. But, there's certain times where you're like, okay, it looks like he's understanding a little bit of the strike zone. And he works a walk. But then, like the other day, when he gets his opportunity, he gets on first base. And even when the pitcher throws over twice, giving him the green light because the next throw over is a balk, he doesn't take advantage and he stays right there at first base. You're like, why didn't you run? And then there's certain at-bats where you're like, okay, he came through with a big RBI single right there, right? And then there's other at-bats where he's like statsy, like Grillmaster says, and takes one right down the middle. Or he's swinging at fading sliders that are starting out over the plate that just curve way outside. So, yes, he's very, very frustrating to watch. And that's why I said, with Travis d'Arnaud sucking so far, if you're insisting on having him catch Hendricks, which he's done 3 straight times, why not take Adele out of the lineup? Why not take Ward out of the lineup? One of those two guys that are struggling. Right now, you take out Adele because he's struggling more than Ward, even though they're comparable in home runs, but I'm not counting home runs. I think at least Ward's gotten a couple more hits and a couple more walks. But you could put in the DH spot, Hoppy. You're not losing anything when you put in d'Arnaud. But I think when you're keeping that outfield together, guys who are struggling, then yes. Also, Brian says, why the fuck are all the games on FanDuel? because FanDuel bought, Bally's. Bally's went bankrupt. Matt Bedingo says, I can't wait for Neto to come back. Hopefully he can teach everyone how to hit and get on base and score. He's definitely going to be knocking in some runs. LA Angels of Anaheim, we have a problem. Michael checks in with any speculation as to what will happen after the lease extension for the Angel Stadium. Not as we speak of right now. I have heard of the latest meetings with Anaheim City Council and the mayor. They were getting mad at the mayor for speaking her mind and going without the help of the council. There's definitely, they are not close to any kind of deal, although they're working on one, trying to get a package together that will fit Artie's narrative, and then trying to meet somewhere in the middle because Artie wants something completely different. He wants everything for free without having to lift a finger or pay. This is coming from a guy who's paying the city of Anaheim, get this, $1 whole to lease the Angel Stadium. $1 whole. That's it. Just $1. So you think and I don't live in Anaheim, but if I lived in Anaheim, I would be pissed being a taxpayer, knowing that the stadium, the bill gets flipped by the city, and any improvements are in the contract. A lot of them are to be picked up by the city of Anaheim, not the guy who's responsible for owning the team in Artie Moreno. So that, my friends, is something to be very concerned about. And we know that they signed an extension through 2032 at this point, and they can extend it as far as 2038. So again, we're stuck in a stalemate right here, where the city's going to continue to flip the bill and use your money to improve a stadium that this loser owns. So that's the problem that we're having right now. Anyway, Bedingo says, is anyone that is writing on here or Instagram, give me a follow and a follow back. Yeah, check out Matt Bedingo over there on Instagram. Super fan right there. James Gonzalez, a.k.a. The Chair, a.k.a. the Around the League show host, says, hell yeah, I'm going to the gym for a couple hours after this. Yes, sir. Get it in, man. Get it in. Rumor has it that Adele has potential to be good. This guy. Rally Chris says, Rangers are already already lost the series to the Mariners and are trying to get swept by them. Steve Lee says, I told you, I know the Angels will lose against the Astros. She's so much the optimism nut. Also, what do you think about the pitching rotation that we have so far, Jesse? It's too early to put a grade on them. It's too early to speculate about what they can do. All I know is that they are once again playing with a deck of cards without an ace. They do not have an ace on this team. They have some nice 2s and 3s, or even 3s and 4s. They don't have an ace. I like Soriano and what he can be, but he needs to be more battle tested. He needs a lot more innings under him. He could be a potential ace in one day, or maybe even a high 2, but they're still missing an ace. And they had every opportunity this season to actually rebuild the rotation. Now, in a sense, you're saying, okay, well, they rebuilt about 40% of that rotation from outside by getting Hendricks and getting Kikuchi. But you had other free agents that you paid far less, that other teams paid far less in far less years, because that's what Artie was worried about. I don't want to pay, or I got to say it in Artie language, I didn't want to pay more for the 4 years and over $30 million per year. But you paid a guy like $30 million, Kikuchi, when there was other pitchers out there that only garnered about 10 to 15 million. AKA the Dodger pitcher last year. I'm forgetting his name, started with an F or whatever. But you had other pitchers, man. You just had all kinds of starting pitchers that were out there that they could have got. They could have gotten the guy that went to San Diego, Pavetta. There's a lot of guys that could have went and got that would have just automatically been an ace. And nope, didn't do it. Also, are you still wearing the clown costume, and have you scared any little ones? Both, Badingo. I will be there on the 19th as a clown. Tony C says Neto has to be back by April 21st. Angels will thrive in 25. When they get Zach Neto back, we will take off. Angels need to be more patient in the dugout. Per Torrey Hunter. I could see that, because I would love to have Torrey Hunter out there. Kikuchi pitches game 1 versus the Rangers. Soriano game 2. Kohanowitz game 3. Rangers will counter with Patrick Corbin, Tyler Mahal, and Jacob deGrom. I like the opportunity the Angels have against Corbin and Mahal. I don't know about deGrom, but we'll see. Michael says, do you think the A's get settled in Vegas? The owners will pump money into the team and make it a playoff run? Absolutely. They're going to get all kinds of free money over there. You think that owner is paying for that stadium? No, but they haven't had any groundbreaking. So if you're an A's fan or if you're a Vegas fan, you got to be kind of crapping yourself because, yeah. Steve Lee says, oh my God, Joe Adell is so bad. He's next to Rendon level. I don't know about that. Also, Kyron taking Adell's position. He possibly could. I mean, obviously, when Neto comes back, you're going to need some. You're going to need Neto to be in the lineup at shortstop, and obviously, right now they're rotating Newman and Anderson, so those guys won't be playing. And you don't want to put Newman or Anderson or Mancata when he comes off the IL at second base because you have freaking the stud over there in Kyron Paris. So again, if you need to move an infielder, you're going to move the outfielder, which is the weakest link, which is Joe Adell, because you can play Kyron in center and be pretty confident that Kyron can take center. So we'll see. He's got options, but either way, he's going to be criticized. Jesse also says Christian Moore moving up. It's too early. He's not up to the sparkling start we thought he would, but I guarantee at some point this season you will see a infield of Renifo, Neto, Moore, and Shonawell, or you'll see, sprinkling in there at times Kyron Paris. Byron says, why is Taylor Ward lazy fuck? I always see him half jogging in left. And not only is he lazy, just, again, leadoff hitters are supposed to be spark plugs. And a spark plug, the only spark plug I know on this team so far, actually there's two of them, but the main one right now is Kyron Paris, and then you got Louis Renifo. Those guys are always hard hustle players, always guys that push the ball the opposite field, get the big hits. They hustle play in the infield, and they also can run and are very smart on the bases. I can't say that for Taylor Ward whatsoever. So also, Useless Trucker says, on Star Wars night, just remember that no planet, look out for the Giants. Yeah, the Giants are going to be tough to play, dude. There's no doubt about it. Grillmaster says, do y'all see the Dodgers get smoked last night? Yeah, it was nice to see them get smoked and them actually have to use a pitcher at home. And again, looking at those tickets, the cheapest ticket I saw for last night's game was $184. Yeah. Also, on X, Beningo says, I know it's early, but who would you like the Angels to draft? Oh, that's way too early. But again, the mock draft has them selecting Jamie Arnold from Arkansas. Yeah, I again, starting pitching. I'd have to just say, if you're not trying to get starting pitching, forget real relievers. If you're not trying to get a legit starter in the draft, I don't know what you're doing in the first couple rounds. Michael says, I like the stadium. It's easy to get in and out of, unlike Dodger Stadium. That has never been a problem. It's just that the stadium is falling apart. Brian says, Artie sucks balls. He does. Tony C says, in the dugout, he fires up the boys. I think we sit Adele for at least a week, put Paris in center field, and leave him there. Have O'Hoppy in. Also, Jack Flaherty is the pitcher I was looking for, Rally Chris. Jesus or Jesse says, Zach rehab is over 422, and Ben Joyce is over 424. So that's not too bad right there. That means it could be back by the next road trip, if that's the case. Also, when we changing the name back to Anaheim Angels, I hear the mayor wants that. Or when are we? She wants it, but again, it all comes down to Artie Moreno. So I don't know what happens there. Ricky over there on TikTok says, I don't think we should keep having Anderson and Hendricks going back-to-back days. Yeah, the two veterans going back-to-back days is not a good move, but, again, Ron Washington likes to do things for a solid month before he makes a decision. So, again, I don't see anything changing drastically with this team until the end of April, in my opinion. I just don't see it. And as far as the name change goes, again, that's all on the Angels. I know that the city wants them to go back to Anaheim. I know that there's a chance that they could pull a Texas and just say, hey, we're the California Angels. They can grandfather themselves back into it. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's either one or the other. I think either Artie says, I don't care what you guys say, and he sticks with Los Angeles, or he gives in because the city of Anaheim gives him something. He doesn't take charity, and he doesn't want something for nothing. He wants to get something out of it, no matter what. it does to his legacy. Michael says $184. How are all the Cholos getting into Dodger games? They're because the Cholos used to be able to make about 10 games a year. And, it was the bleacher area that was so dangerous. It was like Raider Nation. And I would go in there and, it got pretty rough. So, because I would go to Dodger games too. I used to get Dodger tickets for free from my old job. And I would go just because I love baseball and I'd root against the Dodgers. And I'd go in there with my Angels gear and I got a lot of shit talk, right? But it was dangerous. I think now you can get in there and go and do whatever the hell you want. It's not as bad. They're not having a reputation for killing their fellow fans. They do fight each other, though. There's still a lot of drunken bouts, and, they've raised the prices so high. A tall can of beer that would cost you maybe $3, $4, maybe $5 to $6 max in a liquor store over here. When you go to Dodger Stadium, that same can, that same big can is going to cost you because those tall cans at Angel Stadium are about $16 to $18 depending on the beers. I think they might be a little higher this year, but as far as Dodger Stadium, though, you look at Dodger Stadium tall cans are sometimes going for $31. So again, you could buy a 3-pack of those for probably about $11, $12 maybe. The Michelada ones, the Bud Light ones, 3 tall cans, right, for $12. If you're buying 3 cans, you're spending almost $100. It's insane. And these guys still go in drunk. And that's despite at Dodger Stadium, you can't tailgate at Elysian Park, which is just below Dodger Stadium. You can't tailgate there. And then you also can't tailgate in the parking lot. So these people the Dodgers are like, well, we can stop violence. We could stop stupid behavior. We could stop rowdy people by not allowing them to party and get drunk before they come in. That doesn't work. So then they were like, oh, let's fire up the freaking the prices. Let's make it more expensive for these troublemakers. That doesn't work. They come into the stadium, they're just like, nope, spend. And, but they're not able to go to multiple games. And you're seeing more of a corporate type crowd come to Dodger Stadium now, but they still have the money to spend, which is outrageous. You're seeing the tourists now that with all those Japanese stars, they're having people come from all over the world to see them play, especially from those Asian countries. Then you have the influx of, your players from other nations from around the world, your Dominicans, your Cubans. You have all these different cultures there. So yeah, they're like, oh, that's my people there. That's my people there. So you get that integrated in, but you don't get the rowdy types of those people. And then you also have the corporate types that are sitting in those brand new state. I mean, that place is printing their own goddamn currency. And again, Artie Moreno wishes he was the Dodgers ownership. He wishes, but you have to spend money the right way to get to where they're at. You have to have a collective game plan, and stick to it. And you have to hire the right people and trust them. So those Dodger owners, they don't meddle. They're just like, okay, how much do you need for scouting? How much do you need for development? How much do you need for this? How much do you need for that? And they do it. Oh, the stadium's going to cost $300 million to renovate. Okay, that's good. We'll take a hit initially, but by the end of the year, with all the food prices going up, with all the parking, with all the gourmet food, with everything, the sales that we're going to make on all these games and stuff like that, we're going to sell out 57,000 seat stadium every night. That will easily make up the $300 million deficit. And that's not even counting that $300 million that went into all those new luxury seats. The ticket prices doubled and tripled. So again, you're going to make up that 300. A lot of people are like, damn, the Dodgers are spending a lot of money. No, they're not. And they have those contracts on deferred payments. So $700 million you're paying Ohtani, people aren't realizing that they don't have to start paying the bulk of that for another 10 years. Where is the inflation rate going to be by then? Because a lot of people are like, man, dude, back in the day, that $200 million that went to A-Rod was a lot of money. People were like, oh, that's $250 million, right? And people were freaking out when A-Rod got that contract from Texas. Now look at it. $252 million would be a bargain for a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You're like, damn, dude. Now you're like, oh, $500 million. That's a pretty good deal that Toronto got. No, it's not. But that's where the money's gone. So maybe that $700 million doesn't look all that bad 10 years from now. That's the insane part about everything. Let's see. Let's get back to I just got thrown off right there. Also, what was Papa Fox thinking about the series? Overall, he's not too upset about it. He's pretty happy that the Angels have a winning record, but he's like, they could have done better. Also, Grimmaster says, "Hey Artie, you got to get you get out of it what you put into it." Lodge says, "I think he's calling for this soundbite, which is pretty funny."
Let me tell you something about my guy John Stamos. So I was able to go in the back bedroom and unscrew the old
balls and running up my butt right now.
You get out of it what you put into it. John Stamos
Choked on me.
He was so great.
Joshua says, "We'll be 1-0 tomorrow." Gotta wait till Tuesday. Dan Rio says, "Flip Ward and Paris in the order, get Neto and leave it alone. 90 wins." Amen, brother. If you can put Ward down there by number 7, I'm so happy. I mean, me and Fernando were saying that last year, and I just think that is the perfect spot for a Taylor Ward. Mario says, "Last Dodger game I went to, they had a blow-up sex doll floating in the stadium. Classic." Yeah, that they do not care about kids at that stadium whatsoever. The F-bombs are raining down. Ankle bracelets are fired up for that game. What the hell's going on out here? Matt Bedingo says Angels would be the same way if they were good. Luckily, with how bad they are, the prices are not that bad. They would be a little bit better, but not nowhere close to the Dodgers. Booba Bear's mama says, "Fear not, it's just one game." Also, Jesse says, if we were competitive in the second half, I could see a big trade moves. Adele, if he doesn't prove it, Reed Detmers, he's a solid pitcher, but always lacks after a year. He prefers the AAA pitching coach. And I believe that you could possibly get a good haul for those two players because, again, they're players that are much like Brandon Marsh, where other teams look at them and they're like, man, there's so much potential there. The Angels are wasting their potential. They're not using him right. Because look what they did to Brendan Marsh. All they had to do was adjust his swing, and he turned into an all-star. And I think that could be the same thing. I mean, I still think that when Patrick Sandoval makes his debut in 2025 here off the injury, the Tommy John, maybe late June, July-ish when he comes back, I guarantee you he's going to pitch good for Boston because they're going to have good pitching coaches that are going to take care of him and see his flaws and fix them. And he's also going to have a competent team behind him. So I think he's going to do much better in Boston. I would have liked to see him in a better pitcher's ballpark other than Boston. I think if he does struggle, it will be on guys who could turn on those pitches and put it over the monster. But as far as Reed Detmers, I think he could flourish somewhere else. I think he just can't get it done here for whatever reason. Mario says Frank McCourt is making a killing on parking lot fees at Dodger Stadium. Yeah, he still owns that thing. Despite that, I forgot the ownership of the Dodgers don't own that, but they will own that tram that comes up there. And they do get a lot of city perks, and they get a ton of ad revenue. And I mean a ton. Grillmaster says 9-151. Jeez. Haven't been to a Dodger game since 2016. I don't want to get shot. It's not as bad as people think. It's not as bad, but there it is. So we're caught up in the comments. Let's get back to the X's and O's. Houston wins 7 runs on 6 hits to 3 runs, 9 hits for the Angels. The big blow was in the bottom of the second when Hendricks was hit around and they scored 5 runs. And then the Angels followed it up with a pathetic performance trying not to get guys on and swinging for the fences. They mustered 16 strikeouts to their opponent's 3. You're going to lose every time you pull that shit. And that's what hurt them tonight. Plus, they issued 5 walks. So, again, where our innings, we went back to some bad, we regressed into some bad tendencies from last year, where last year, again, this team was doing things like that where they were having 5 to 6 minute innings and then commercials while, the other team was just rocking it up there for 10 or 15 minutes. Yep, exactly. Back Bedingo says, have a good day, everyone. Going to watch NASCAR race where I will probably fall asleep when they round 500 times. There you go. That's good to do right there. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every last one of you coming on. It was really nice to talk to you and read your comments on here. And, despite the loss, we'll go get them, I guess, on Monday or Tuesday when they play. The Angels need a victory to get off the schneid and get back to, if they can win double digits, that'd be great. They will be playing against Texas in that series. We'll have Yasiel Kikuchi going against Patrick Corbin. Kikuchi's 0-2 in 3 starts with a 5 ERA. The thing that's concerning to me are 2 major things. First off, he's only allowed 15 hits in 18 innings, so that's below. That's good. He's got 16 strikeouts per 18, almost a strikeout per inning. But the thing that's concerning is he's got 8 walks already and 4 homers given up. You might want to keep the ball down in Texas because that's where another place where they tend to have problems. So we'll see what happens. And then, like I said, we got those 3 the 3-game set right there. Actually, the 4-game set right there in Texas right there. So that we're gonna look. Or actually, no, I'm looking ahead. That's 4-game series in Anaheim. My bad. Yeah, we don't play these guys for 3 months. So we play them 3 months from now, nearly 3 months from now in Anaheim. So again, we don't play them till July. So we got to take advantage of these 3 games here in Texas before we play them in July at the Big A. So weather will not be a factor, and we're going to come into that record, I guess, with the same record right now because Seattle's currently up on them 3-1, and they have the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Oh no, they just got out of it right now. They're going to the 7th. Bases or it just keeps changing on me. Now it's 1 out, bases loaded for Seattle. So we'll see what happens there. But for the most part, I'm hoping this series is better for the Angels. They desperately need to get it off the schneid and get that victory and kind of punch Texas in the face and hopefully win that series. So for Todd Fox and everybody on the Halos in the Infield Network, like Mario says, hit that like and subscribe. And please tell a friend. It really helps out the channel as we move forward. And we'll see you we'll be posting more intensely this week about the perks of going to our tailgate on the 19th. So this one definitely goes into the...
One more loss, which could have been a win. You call yourselves professionals.
We can't be that mad at them, but yeah, it was a tough win or tough loss. We should have won. But it is what it is, and hopefully it didn't cause you too much emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Let's get back to honking our honks on Monday or Tuesday. I keep saying Monday. It's Tuesday. And the season will start on Tuesday.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Tuesday. So we'll play you out with the rest of the ones that I used for sponsorship earlier. We'll just play the video sponsorship, and we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday after hopefully another Angels win. Good night, everybody.
Brought to you by 714 Tickets in Anaheim, your trusted source for Angels tickets at unbeatable prices with no hidden fees. Whether it's home or away, they've got your seat covered. Visit them at 2424 East Catella Avenue, Anaheim, or online at 714tickets.com. Mention HITI and get 10% off your purchase. And Brewheim, Anaheim's premier craft brewery, pouring fresh, locally brewed beers in a welcoming atmosphere for Angels fans and beer lovers alike. Stop by their tap room at 1931 East Wright Circle, Anaheim, or check them out at brewheim.com. Mention HITI and get 10% off your tab. The OC Dugout, your one-stop shop for officially licensed Angels memorabilia, custom jersey framing, and exclusive autograph signings with your favorite players. Visit them at 1928 East Center Street, Anaheim, or online at theocdugout.com. Support the businesses that support Halos in the infield.